In this video, we are going to connect Netbeans to our database server so that we can create a Java program in Netbeans that uses our SQL server. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my downloads folder because we had already downloaded the SQL connector. MySQL connector-J, I used 8.0.32 because that's the current version as I'm making this video. I'm going to right click and I'm going to extract all the files out of there. And I'm just keeping that right in my downloads folder. It's important to know where you're extracting it to. All right, there it is in my downloads folder. If I open it up, I can see this file, MySQL connector-J- and it's got my version 8.0.32-jar. So it's an executable Java archive, but that is the driver that allows us to make a connection from our program to the database server. So let's switch over to Netbeans. So I'm in Netbeans right now, and here's my projects folder. I don't have any projects open. I have this expanded out. You want to click on the Services tab, and maybe you've not seen that before or used it before, but let's click on the Services tab. Then under Databases, we want to open this Drivers folder. Okay? And in here, you can see I have a few pre-configured drivers folder, and you may see one that says MySQL in there already. Okay, so, but I don't have one in here. I took it out on purpose to show you how to add one. If you do have one, you can click on it and select Customize. Okay, but I don't have one in here, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to say New Driver. Okay, so if you have one there, right click and select Customize. In this case, I am saying New Driver. And then I have to tell it where my JDBC driver is. So I'm going to click Add, and you can see I'm already over here. So I'm in my Downloads folder. Here's where I extracted my files. And I click through those till I find the SQL connector-J version.jar. Okay. And I'm going to say Open, and I'm going to say OK. And now we have a MySQL connector in Netbeans connecting whatever program we make to our database when we want to do it. Okay. So now that I'm here, I can right click on this driver and let's test it out. I'm going to say connect using, and here it is. There's my driver. I'm going to be connecting to my local host. Remember when we set up our SQL server, we said we're going to run it locally. So localhost and port 3306 matches what we did for our default SQL Server installation. The database I want to connect to, and I want to connect to, let me think about this for a second. Let's go over here. To my SQL Workbench, and let's connect to the world database. So I'm going to say world database. The database, I'm going to say world. Username, root. Now, I said before, don't use root for everything. So this is where we're going to use our test user in this case. Test user, and the password for our test user was 1234. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell it to remember the password. And then let's test it. Notice it gives me a URL. Test the connection. And it says connection succeeded. So I've successfully connected my Netbeans. I know that through Netbeans, using this driver, I can connect to that database using this test user. So I'm going to hit next. Next. And then it's going to give me a default name, and I'm just going to take that name. I'll just keep it the way it is. And it's a little bit long. But you can see here, there's our world database in our tables, and we can see it through the services built into Netbeans. and it's working. So the drivers are installed, and we have a JDBC connection that connects to the database on our server set up in Netbeans. So in the next video, I think we'll be ready. Let's go create an application to connect to this database and see if we can read some data out of the database using a Java program.